Hey, it's Joshi. So it turns out that my career in visual effects and computer graphics has a lot of life lessons within it. Lots of things that I went through that can be applied to if you're going after your dream, you're going after this goal that's there, and what are all the things that happen along the way. This is another example of one of the things that happened along the way. So I went to school for illustration, and then in my fourth year I went to computer animation for a year. There weren't very many computer courses out at this time. This is back in the late 80s, and there were only 12 spots available in this course. So it was just so much competition all over the place. But you learn 3D animation there, so you think, oh, I'm going to get into 3D animation right away. I did a small 3-month contract job right when I got out, but it was doing animations about nuclear reactors. And so it's it wasn't quite what I thought I was going to be doing. So I started looking for another job and got a job at a visual effects place called Animation Visual Special Effects, because the owner's name is Anne. So it was Animation. And my first job that I was basically assigned was they worked on a show called My Secret Identity, a Canadian TV series starring Jerry O'Connell, who was the actor from Stand By Me when he was a kid. And so this is more as he's growing up. And then he went on to do other TV shows. Oops, I'm hitting the mic, sorry. Other TV shows and movies. So my job on this show, I joined in season 2, and the other artist, Marge, had trained me for her technique of doing blurs, because Andrew, the main character, his neighbor is this kind of wacky, goofy scientist doctor, and he has all these experiments. So during the seasons, he got zapped by this doctor's experiments, and he gained these superpowers. So he has a super speed power where he can run really fast, and he can fly as well, and he has super strength. So not everybody knows about his powers. So what I want to explain is that if you're on your path to your goal and you say, this is what my dream job is, along the way, again, you may not be working on exactly what you thought you were going to, but there's a gift within that point. So when I was doing these blurs, I'll show you this scene. So he's making this surfboard. He's sanding this surfboard, and he's doing it with his super speed powers. So I'll just play this. He looks around to make sure nobody sees him because he's doing these crazy fast. But I get to add all these blur lines. Yes, that was my job. I got to add digital blur lines to the footage, and he goes and does the urethane level, so I'm adding all these blur lines as well. So again, technology at that time didn't allow things to be automated. It was literally a digital system called a Quantel paint box. So, and it had a external hard drive unit that had no interface to it. Computers weren't that fast. These were expensive hard drive units. You could store a minute or so in there, and I would load the footage into there, grab it into the digital painting program, paint a frame, and then record it one frame at a time back. So I would be painting one where I just say, okay, I need to smear his tank top and his pants, and then smear it, and then it's got to be a bit transparent, so I'd restore it back into the frame, and I would do it frame by frame, making sure I was understanding what's the velocity of the blur that he's moving around, and he's going to change directions, so how does that blur act when he changes directions, right? So I'm learning this all on the go and going by with a project that I did at home just for fun and stuff, as well as some stuff that technically you learned from school, but we didn't do assignments where I got to work on a digital painting program. Again, think Photoshop is in its infancy back then as well, and computers were really slow. They're more the home computer type that were like the Amigas and the Ataris. So it's not the crazy powerful computers we have today. So everything that I was learning on the job. And I would come in on my night shift. I would start at 4 o'clock in the evening, and I'd work till the wee hours of the morning every day. And again, I was saying, oh my God, but I'm working on visual effects. I'm getting to work on things that I feel are in alignment with my path. It's not quite the science fiction stuff that I thought I would be doing, right? But I'm on this path. So as you honor where you are and say, I'm learning something here, again, similar to how I was talking about in the morphing job, you're learning things as you're going along. The funny part is that when you end up talking to friends and they say, hey, how's it going? What are you working on? We all graduated from this 3D animation program, so some of them are working on 3D animation and doing really cool stuff. And it's like, oh, hey, what are you working on? And I say, oh, I'm working on this show called My Secret Identity, and he has super speed, so I add the blur lines to when he's doing super speed. You add blur lines, and I said, yeah, I add the blur, so it looks like he's going really fast, because they speed up the footage, but it'll look a lot better if it's blurred rather than just speeded up footage. So yeah, so I'm the guy who adds the blurs. Cool. Hey, do you want some dessert, or what do you want to eat next? And it's like, so as you go through those stages of your life where you don't think you're exactly where you want to be humble, know that you're doing your best and you're learning this for a reason. Something that you may not know, but this is coming to your path, and your alignment with it is giving you this experience, so you can add that to your tool belt. Doesn't mean you're going to do this forever. If they said, hey, for the next 10 years you're going to be doing blurs, I was like, no, I'm not. So you naturally progress by doing your best. And they say, well, if you're really good at that, let's get you on. Oh, sorry, I hit the microphone again. You're getting really good at that. Let's get you onto here, and get you onto here, and get you onto here. But those moments where you're telling your friends and you want to say, oh, I'm working on this great cool stuff and all that, but you aren't, but it's still cool in the sense that, but this is something that I don't think everybody is doing, and I'm working on the latest digital equipment, so it's really cool. So be humble, do your best, so that you'll get recognized that you can move up through the different ranks and work towards what your goal is. And be okay saying, I'm a digital blur artist. Say it proudly. Say it proudly. Even if your family asks you, hey, what do you do? I make blurs. Yep. And I make good blurs. I will leave you with that beautiful blur thought. Follow your dreams. No matter what point the path takes you on, see it that you're learning something that can move you even more closer to your dream. I'll see you in the next video. Again, lots of love.